Alright, hello, welcome everybody to game 2 of our analysis of Lil in ESL 1 Hamburg Grand Finals. Virtus Pro 2-0 against Team Secret. The first game Lil played Enchantress, and the second game he plays Chen. So there's a fair bit of similarity there. Let's get right into it. Like last time, won't be doing too much on the draft, just make some comments in passing, and it'll be mostly focused on the gameplay. So like in game 1, Virtus Pro banned out the Lich, because they don't want it to mess with their lanes and set momentum back against them. There's also a Veno counter. Secret banned, first phase banned the Enchantress, which is probably why Virtus Pro took the Chen. They also took the Chen in a really good position. What they've done is they've taken it in this little slot here. They've taken it as the 4th pick in the first phase. So Secret took both their supports, and Virtus Pro have seen that and said, we can run Chen here. So I talk about this a lot in my in the drafting section of my Chen Bible. For various reasons, it's important that Chen has a good matchup, particularly against the enemy supports, and they'll typically show early. So this is why second pick and third pick is probably the ideal place for Chen in a draft. Virtus Pro also first phase banned the Veno, which is interesting. Veno is a hero that's actually quite decent against Chen, because he's a good matchup against the creeps. Plague Wards do a lot of work against creeps, and the hero itself is just obnoxious to deal with. So if we fast forward till the end of the draft, Virtus Pro, if game 1 was a classic Virtus Pro draft, game 2 is also a classic Virtus Pro draft. We retain the Venge from the first game. No one plays Viper instead of Sniper. And Pasha plays Sand King instead of Brewmaster, whereas Solo is Bane instead of Ogre. All of those are very similar heroes. They're kind of like for like. They do the same kind of things. And again, it's the same with Chen and Enchantress. Slight change, and it will play out a little differently, but the overall strategy and style is the same. I've got sort of something in my eye rather. Yes. So Secret counterpicked this game with the Magnus. They counterpicked the Chen with the Magnus. For a few reasons. Magnus is a good wave clearing hero, and he does that with his spammable nuke, AoE nuke, and he does that with his cleave that he can give to Ember Spirit for extremely good synergy, and he can give to Phantom Lancer for a lot of damage. So that's obviously very good against the Chen creeps, and it's very good against pushes, as well as, of course, the RP. Virtus Pro we want to grouping up as a team, so Magnus is just a solid counter. Team Secret have put a lot of effort in their last picks to counter the draft of Virtus Pro, and there's some strength there, but it's kind of at the cost of their laning potential and their momentum, and that's where this game goes really well for Virtus Pro and badly for Secret. But with the Magnus, you can kind of always come back from lanes because of your increased farming potential and increased farming speed, most importantly. So that's probably what Puppy is banking on with this draft. One final note to make on the draft is that the lanes from Virtus Pro are very strong individually. The only one that we would really need or want babysitting is possibly Pasha on the Sand King. But I don't think that works out with as necessary because of the nature of Secret's lanes. They actually aggro try with the Ember Spirit, and it's a mid PL against the Viper. Excuse me, they certainly do not want to put the Ember Spirit mid against the Viper. It's a bit of a death sentence. So, for starting build, it's very similar to the first game. We've got a Bloodstone first, very effective item, leads into early medallion as you can see queued up here. Boots also queued up. So last game, VP did this aggressive play where they moved in this direction into the enemy jungle, and then they set up 2 heroes in the top lane, one of them the Enchantress, and 2 heroes in the mid lane and a solo offlaner. They don't do that this game. They go for the conventional 2 or really 3-1-1, and it's going to be the solo Sanking up against the solo Magnus. It's Secret that do the aggro tri lane this time, so we'll see how a little response to that. Starting off blocking the mid lane creep wave, then we'll see how we go. Okay, so nice block. He's got an observer wood and a smoke. One of the things that I like to do on Chen a lot is to try to gank the enemy courier. It's a very pubs, this time if you smoke up behind tower especially, it's a play the enemy will not see coming often. But he doesn't do that this game. It's perhaps anticipated, shown there by holding. So you can see here immediately the pressure that Lil is actually putting out by his sheer presence of picking the hero. He has this hero and Puppy knows the potential. He knows that you have to get on top of it. Or you want to get on top of it to scout him out, see where he is, and get on top of him early. So they've committed 2 heroes in to try to zone him out. But look at that. They simply cannot deal with him. What's more, it's distracting him from what you would say is the real objective in the lane, giving a lot of space. So Lil sees this as an aggro try, and it's decided it's going to win it for his team. This is the lane where he's going to make an impact. So you can see already, look at the positioning of the heroes here. It's basically, this is a real strength of Chen as a hero. We've got lane creeps here. Ramses is able to deny a range creep. Virtus.pro are able to get a stack off here, which is very good. And look at the position here. It's basically with the Chen, it's a 4 versus 3. It's not a 3 versus 3. It's a 4 versus 3. So 3 heroes completely zoning out the supports, and soon to be mid 1. These 2 have to retreat, and then mid 1 will get zoned as well. There's very little Secret can do because of how weak their carry in particular is. Ember Spirit is a notoriously bad, vulnerable laner. So this is probably where the Viper pick was super strong. Is intended to go mid as the Ember Spirit, but can't do that matchup, so they've adjusted, banking on the ability of the Ember to catch up. So the enemy heroes have been zoned, and then VP get a pull off, and this is how you win lanes. You pull and then you protect the pull. It's essentially, what is it, 3 plus, it's a 6v2 right now. That's what's happened, it's a 6v2. Puppy has decided bot's impossible, can't happen, so he's gone mid, and that's fine. That's a good play from him. Lil continuing to block the camp. He doesn't want the enemy pulling creeps into it. Bane over to secure runes, and Yapsor securing a rune. Chen wants to be kind of active in this area, ideally, because you can zone the enemy supports and control 2 bounty runes. Right now he's actually, as a Chen, playing sacrificially and getting 0 bounty runes. 1 bounty rune here for his fellow support, and 1 bounty rune for the Yapsor. Meanwhile, Puppy has seen that. And again, Puppy is a exceptional Chen player himself. He understands the hero. So he's seen this is where the space is. He's gonna get the haste rune. He's gonna get these 2 bounty runes and try to play where Lil isn't. So unfortunately, for mid 1, this leaves him completely isolated, a true offlaner in this game. Lil's seen the enemy's heroes are missing, they can't contest, so he's now free. He's won this bot lane. Mid 1 is no longer a threat to Ramses. Ramses can win this lane by himself more so. So Lil's obligations are now relieved and he can do whatever he likes. And he's decided he wants to get level 2 or level 3 more realistically. Not sure, I don't remember what does he do with this sort of skeleton creep. But anyway, he's decided he wants to get levels. And he wants to start playing from this area, where he can impact top. So the Sand King, this is a good lane for him, and it's showing. This is a very awkward lane for Poppy and Yapsor. They've sacrificed their lanes for mid and late game. Puppy pulling, trying to get levels himself. Lil now walking top, spotted by this ward. I like this play from Pasha, clearing the small camp so the Puppy can't pull. And these creeps should know. You know, Lil is very good with his creep use. He's an exceptional player to watch, to learn for that. So these creeps are just scouting, and scouting the rune in particular. Puppy relents, wards placed down, sees him go away. Right now, Lil doesn't actually have a creep. Oh, he does actually. I lie. He's got. I have to go back actually. I want to see this. Yeah, so there is actually a cyclone in this mid lane. It's not showing, but he's winning mid, or at least impacting mid as much as he can all the while this happens. I knew he had a creep somewhere. So I think realizing that, Puppy probably should have contested that rune. But anyway, he doesn't, and Lil takes a bounty, and he takes this arcane rune, and now he can take this rune too. So Puppy sees that Lil's gone, they go on the Viper. But look what happens now that Ace doesn't have the arcane rune, doesn't have mana for doppelganger or an extra spirit lance, and no one can just walk away. Meanwhile, the VP are farming on 4 heroes right now, and winning lanes on 3 heroes, right? Winning all 3 lanes and farming on all lanes. So Lil actually has quite bad level progression because he's sacrificed himself to win bot and then to win mid using the Wild Wing rather than farming with a different creep. But that's fine because his team is in a fantastic position. Okay. So he tries to get the creep cut. I want to once again point out this ward. I really like this ward. Because what Lil is trying to do with this Chen is control an area of the map. And that's this area with this map. He's trying to control this area, this top quarter of the map. And this area, this is a ward that scouts people coming into it. it doesn't show him where he is, doesn't show him where his creep is. It shows people rotating in. If anybody comes in from here, the only way you can get into this area is through here or through here. And that's either unlikely or impractical. So he's sent, meantime he's taken this rune again. This is a double stack, so still at level 3. He's taking this creep, taking the rune, and he gets a kill with this satyr on Yapsor. Yapsor would not have died. Yapsor would have lived if Lil hadn't made that play. So I want to point out, this is actually, because of the nature of their lost lanes, this is actually Secret's best bet to 5-man into the 1 lane and just get something, and delay a hero that could push them. Viper also doesn't have boots at this stage, he's built for tankiness, 4 levels in corrosive. So he's probably the vulnerable one. So Lil now taking the 2 big creeps from this, and he's going to clear the small ones. Now with level 3, almost level 4, he's doing fine in level progression compared to Puppy especially. This is his opposite number, the 4, both 4s. And what he's doing is getting his cores in front, and then as a team they can further a lead. So it's not about being greedy yourself in the first 5 minutes. It's about putting yourself in a position, putting your team in a position where you can continue a lead. So this Wild Wing is staying top. It gives a nice armor bonus for pushing, while he is farming up. You got a new Wildkin, I think. The other one didn't have much mana, so he probably wants to use the active. Now 3 hero rotation bot for Secret, and a 3 hero rotation top. And they get a kill. Level 7 on Sanking at 7 minutes means that he has 4 levels in Burrow Strike and can make that initiation without a blink dagger. They kill the Magnus even though he has Skewer and Raindrop and Stick. And they try to transition this into a tower push. So Lil has a medallion at this stage and is using it to push with the creeps. An alternative to medallion is Ring of Basilius for that function right there, and as well as some mana regen. But he's chosen medallion here. Last game he went medallion, and it's fantastic against Timbersaw. That is the major difference. The extra difference in 500 gold you will get is the ability to use it on enemy heroes. So they burst the Magnus. Uses RP too, which is a big loss. Nightmare on the Phantom Lancer. TP out on the Spirit Breaker that was. And a successful dive in space creation. Mid 1 does get some time now because of the rotation up from Ramses with the Aquila. So Ring of Bazzi, already. It's probably the biggest reason you wouldn't get Bazzi on Chen is if your core heroes are going to get it anyway, and are going to get it early. Then it's a bit superfluous. I think I said that right. Weird word, superfluous, that's how you do it, superfluous. It's like hyperbole and hyperbole. Strange pronunciations. Anyway, so Viper's gone bot to defend, because he can shit on this Ember. And there's no RP available, and no level 6 on the Spirit Breaker, so he's not particularly scared of rotations. They're not dangerous. They'll get this tower with the creep push. It's still only level 4 at near 10 minutes now. But, as we'll see with the net worth, it's enough, because not only has he put his cores in front, the pressure he's put out by being sacrificial and not being straight greedy means that the enemy supports get nothing, and that's huge. I want to show you this play because it's absolutely sick from Pasha. It's fucking... Wait, is Pasha? Yeah. He actually... Look at this. he anticipates either the swap or the mid one is actually going to go in and scout himself and just cleans up. It's a huge play from Pasha. So as far as Lil, now back to Lil. You see, what he's doing is not going bot with the team. He's actually continuing to up the pressure. 4 heroes bot. There's no level 6 on Chen, no mech on Chen, so there's actually very little benefit for him as a hero being there. The biggest impact he can make right now is not to be with his team, with creeps, but actually to stop the enemy heroes being there. Or at least to push in some other fashion. So there's a bit of an ill-advised dive bot, and they lose their carry venge. Because they're ahead, they can continue this, and all the while creeps have been pushing in top and getting free damage on tower. I said that there's not a lot of benefit to Lil as a hero being there, and that is true. He didn't have a huge impact in that fight, but he showed up because it's still an important fight for the team momentum, even if he didn't contribute his creeps, which are the biggest part of Chen at this stage. So what he's doing, what he's benefiting from taking this, from splitting the map in two, between him as Chen, as a farming position 4, and the rest of his heroes, is the rest of his heroes can pressure a tower, stop the enemy team splitting up and farming. Because that's what they want to do with Magnus, right? The enemy team wants to split up and take as much farm as possible with Cleave, in the next 10 minutes especially. So what he's doing is applying pressure to the enemy heroes that they have to group up and defend, and applying pressure at the same time that they have to split up and thus cannot defend. And this gives VP a lot of farm. It gives them maximum farm, right? So this farm is important, and perhaps you would say the main driver of this strategy, because what he wants as Chen is a Midas this game. Midas is probably the standard item on Chen these days. It's a bit of a trend. I don't want to use the word trend, but it's a change in trend, mostly driven by talents and the way Hand of God scales, and also the fact that it gives you ancient creeps, which are a huge benefit. So it's just, if you want to check out why Hand of Midas is good, check out my Chen Bible. I love this hero. It's basically the standard item on Chen for a lot of reasons. So while we've got nothing to talk about, I'll go into a couple of those reasons actually, because not much else is happening. So again, to reiterate a small amount, I've shown you why, or I've explained why it's beneficial for VP to play like they are at this stage. And what Midas gives you is levels in Hand of God, which obviously tied to how many ancient creeps you can, and significantly tied to how much the heal actually does. What it also does is thus in turn strengthen your split pushing ability, because you have better creeps. It thus in turn strengthens your farming ability. And Midas will also give you further levels, which are very important for the rest of your skills. They scale very well. Like Test of Faith starts off really bad and then gets good, as well as the talents. Chen's talents are very, very useful. Cast range, Test of Faith cooldown, gold per minute, 1000 minimum creep health, 200 Hand of God heal to become 700. It's pretty big. Yeah, so the moment he actually does get this Midas is the moment he goes with his team. Now that he has his Midas, he's secured his further progression, so he can play again with his team. And they are doing... this play is very risky to go high ground just after you bought a Midas, right? It's very contradictory. But what they're doing, the idea behind this, is to force Secret into their base, or to stop the split pushing. And it's not clear that Secret are actually able to take a fight. Their cores are very weak, right? Ember's bought an iron talent, right? You know, the PL doesn't have the Fusel Blade. Viper's the strongest hero on the map. They've got level 6 on solo. You know, they're just basically strong. So they're gonna walk up, force the enemy heroes into the base. Level 4 Spirit Breaker, right? Level 4 at 15 minutes. So the enemy team is weak. But they do have this Blink Dagger on Magnus. And that's, I don't think VP know that. And I think that's the bit that kind of salvages the fight. So Telekinesis comes out, Blink Dagger misses, missed the skewer, Initiation comes in, perhaps slightly premature. Oh, he sent him back, right. Yeah. A little bit of a miscommunication perhaps, because Lil sent back the Viper when they went on him, which I think is the right play, but the rest of his team kind of committed. And they committed also without using Epicenter, which made actually getting kills, I think, difficult. But anyway, they did succeed, despite feeding a couple kills. It's fine. They succeeded in stopping the push top and stopping the push mid. Yeah, forced out 2 sentries as well, which is pretty huge. And forced the enemy team back into their own base, now that they can control the map. And this opens up Roche. The enemy team being over here opens up Roche. So Lil has secured his progression. Secured his further progression. A lot of the time when he's split pushing with camps, I didn't make this point before, so the last point about Midas, a lot of the time when you're split pushing with creeps, your hero won't be getting that, it'll be getting the gold, but it won't be getting the XP. So the XP is huge. The XP is actually probably the #1 reason you buy Midas. Otherwise you go straight Ags, right? The Midas will give you levels where the Ags won't. And the Ags needs levels to be effective, right? It's a big difference having, you know, level 10 and an Ags and level 18 and an Ags. You know, 1 Ancient Creep versus 3. So they take this Roche after, and again this is where Medallion is useful. Yeah, on Chen and Enchantress, it's a double function. So he's going to go back and continue to farm. What is he doing with his creeps? He's pushing mid with his creeps. Secret splitting up and farming. Just consult my notes here. Be right back in 2 seconds. Okay, so VP have once again gone into the, you would call it farming map control mode. I mentioned it briefly in the last, who has the Aegis? In the last video on Enchantress, that when you take Aegis, you don't want to immediately use it. It's a 5-minute duration, and in that 5-minute duration, you have a tool, a temporary tool, that makes you stronger than the enemy. So it's essentially like having a resource that you can leverage. So they go on the Sand King. I'll just stop here to finish talking about the Aegis. You want to get as much the purpose of an Aegis is to get map control, right? You get the Aegis and then you push towers. And the enemy doesn't really want to fight you, or can't fight you, because you've got this Aegis. It's harder for them. So it's the same as the towers you're going mid, tier 1 here, or if it's the same idea as you're going high ground, same concept. So when you're taking the outer towers especially, you want to delay using the Aegis. You want to like get the easy stuff before you get the hard stuff. And that's basically it. So right now with this team fight, very similar to last game. It's important that VP get a team fight off with their stuns. Now they have less reliable stuns. Would I say that? Who did they have last game? Ogre and Anch and Baru. Yeah, it's about the same, but there's more emphasis this game on the Sanking Burrow Strikers, the hard disable. So to win fights, VP all the time are going to be reliant on the Sanking. So secret go on the Sanking here is very bad. This is why Lil is not afraid to pop ult just for the Sanking. He gets slept as well and gets out. Ace gets absolutely fucked up. I want to go back actually because it's with really good creep usage. So he gets swapped back in and then stunned and doesn't get netted, but yeah, it's not actually creepy. I thought he netted, but he just got fucked up by Ramses. So what played to VP? What played to VP? This is without a carry. It's gonna be a free tier 2 and more gold advantage going the way of VP. So they had a good 4, almost 5,000 gold advantage when they were pushing at high ground bot, and now they're building that back up after they threw just a little bit. So they're also about 1,000 from Ags now too. So again, no rush. I mean, a little bit of a rush, but no panic. Just slow, steady, making use of the space and resources that you have. And I want to point out the nice vision that Solo's provided through this. What I think in pre-5k there's not a lot of appreciation for sentries as map control as much as there is for observers. Observers very obviously give you information, but it's not infallible information. They're a little bit overrated for information. Because you can get past them with smoke. So Lil seen Pasha trying to cut creep wave and he's just trying to stop that. So what sentries provide you with is a little bit more certain map information, and map information that tells you something about what the enemy sees, which is just as important. If you have a sentry on an area, then you can know with certainty, same concept with gem. If you have a gem or sentry in an area, you know with certainty that the enemy do or do not see you, which is really as important as seeing the enemy themselves. So Solo's, as they push, he's been putting sentries down. So it's not just for dewarding. I mean, it is a little bit, but it's, the sentries are just so valuable. It's something that I've been improving and learning a little bit, so I'm gonna expound on that. So again, where are the rest of his creeps? So he's sent his creeps top, and is farming just with 1. So that's good micro control right there. Team, he's used ult. It's not enough to save the Sanking, but it is enough to provide time so that they can get 2 kills for 1. So that's a good trade. And they don't actually. They get bot tower. They don't get top, but it's still a lot of damage, right? And that's almost at 22 minutes. It's almost all out of towers. Lil continuing to work this side of the map. So instead of going for the hand of Midas like he was last time, he's going for the Ags now. While his team is able to make plays. It's harder in pubs to do this, to have the coordinated map control in plays, especially before 5k. In my experience, it's only 5 or 5.5. That's on Australian service that people start to actually understand and play around the implications of team-wide map movements. If you show, in 2k, if you show on this side of the map, it has very little relevance to what happens on this side of the map. In 5k, if you show on this side of the map, it could make or break something that's happening here. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So both teams have put some interesting wards down, trying to see, really get deep vision, and that's useful for seeing rotations with enough time so that you can respond to them, and also make plays themselves. So the ag's complete. Lil rejoins his team. Now they're making plays. Where is his creeps right now? His creeps though are still. He's got a black dragon, the best creep for split pushing. So his creeps are going, taking care of the lanes, but he's able to contribute with a Hand of God globally and spells on his hero. So the reason that the black dragon is the best split pushing creep is for A, the fireball. You know, the best available AoE damage, the best creep nuking, creep wave clearing spell you're available to you as Chen. Unless you got 4 Hadouken creeps, but whatever. And the second is the aura. It's like a wildkin aura. There's no more dragons to show you, but I think it's a stacking 3. I'm pretty sure it stacks. It's stacking 3 armor, so more than a Bazzi. 3 armor aura. And speaking of auras, this is a pretty nice aura too. 15% HP. So I'm really Chen creeps right now. He had some centaurs and I don't think they died. I think they got resent too. But I don't see them on the map. Alright, so we've got two ancient creeps. It's the most we can have right now. Team going to go bot. Mid lane's pushed in, top lane's pushed in, so bot's an option. Enemy team is going on to Pasha. Now it's a clean 4 versus 5 in Secret's favour. Lil going at the back, he doesn't actually have good fighting creeps. The fact they're taking this into RP is kind of all based on the strength of Viper and Ramses on the Venge. So a nice RP takes care of the Bane. I want to see if Ace actually purges this send back from Lil. Oh, I'm not watching the hero. So it's a full level test of faith. So it's gonna take 3 seconds. Just one more time to be certain, because I'm like 99%. So this is one thing you gotta watch out for. As Chen, the only thing that can stop you send back is purging it. So that doesn't work through BKB, obviously. Test of fate. Ooh. Yeah, actually, it doesn't go. Test of fate doesn't go through BKB, so there's that. Anyway, so the purge came out onto, I think it was Ramses, and no one, even though. Alright, he didn't actually send back the, Who did send back? I thought it was the... Shit, well, I am actually crazy. I wasn't watching the test of faith cooldown. Happens earlier, so who does he send back? See how blind I really am. Must be Ramses, right? Must be Ramses. Alright, alt. Yeah, it's Ramses. So yeah, the Ramses gets purged. I think he does, unless he just gets cleaned up. Nah, he just gets cleaned up. The purge comes out beforehand. Okay. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. They lose no one too, and they lose Puppy afterwards. There's no getting away from that. So that's the team up. That's a huge fight for Secret in the PL. PL was shown to be a bit of an underwhelming carry this tournament. He struggled to impact the game aggressively, you would say. Putting out building damage threat or putting out hero threat. A lot of people built him to be sustainable as their #1 priority, and it was difficult for him to win fights because people would just ignore him and kill his team. So there's a little bit happening there this game later on. Anyway, so we're gonna see that Lil goes starting to rebuild his army. His #1 priority, builds into the mech. Actually, I've got to show you this fight from the start. So they start off with the Sand onto the PL. PL half HP. RP comes out. Superb timing on the ult. Saves Ramses. Saves the PL. And mid-1 arrives late. Mid-1 arrives late and then gets run down. And that's the deciding factor, really. Is that Sand lives, and Sand and Ramses live predominantly because Ember's late. And we're going to show you now why Ember is late. And it's this. This Black Dragon. This Chen Black Dragon is farming with this one, and he's pushing with this one. Ember's dealing with this right now. So the fight started right now. We'll pause and the fight started. Now for some reason, mid-1 continues to push instead of going to his team. Or at least he starts TPing about 3 seconds after the fight started. This is Ember's role to split push. It is as a hero in general and in this game. So you could argue that it's just a failure to execute the role. But a failure to execute the role whilst under pressure from Chen. So that's the effect you got to take into consideration. So the big 2 cores from Secret are dead. Right in a good pushing position with the creep wave behind, which is why Fata is desperately wanting to creep cut. Because if they let that creep wave get through, you know exactly what's going to happen. There's the aura. Yeah, bonus armor. The bonus can stack with itself, yeah. Okay. So the buyback comes out from mid-1, and that's pretty unfortunate for him. He really wanted that Shiva's guard. So we'll show you the formation here. So Pasha and Ramses went back to Shrine after killing Puppy. And the formation here is a frenzied 75 attack speed. So huge! Huge! Frenzied Viper smashing that tower with the War Drums aura. Gets purged from Yules, but that's fine. Actually, yeah, that's... Yapsor did a lot of work there. Killing that Viper, stopping the push. That's huge. Buys time for the PL to come back and for Puppy to come back. Bane's dead. Sand King's dead. I think they get Lil here too. Huge plays from Yapsor with the Yules into telekinesis, buying time for Father. Yeah, so it was okay positioning from VP, you would think, but not so. If the Viper was perhaps here, he only comes to here and perhaps lives, it's very hard to say. So Ramses also dies. It's actually a team wipe in total. It's really bad for VP. I mean, they are notorious for doing this, but it's the way it goes. Anyway, so they transition into wanting to take Roche, but you can see the problem with that. PL is a fucking horrific hero for taking Roche, as is mid 1. They don't have this game. This is a real issue with Secret's draft. They don't have tower pressure, right? They don't have raw physical damage, tower pressure. They're a team built to fight heroes, not structures. So Solo gets a little bit isolated, shown up by that ward. Block their own ancient cap actually. So Lil goes in, gets creep to scout. They just don't want to give this Roche up. They do not want to give the Roche up because VP won it themselves. So enemy team spots no one. Now he's got a BKB, so he can tank a fair bit. He's doing alright. Now Lil should die here. He really should die here, but there's a huge distraction from a massive sanking play. Cleaning up both the supports of Secret. So instead of killing Chen, Ace goes over and actually just does nothing, because it's already too late. Lil survives, even though he's being seen by the ward. He should actually die to the Phantom Rush. I'm sure he's in range. Anyway, so Fata eventually gets the RP out, but it's a little bit late. And now Ace finally goes in on no one, but it's a little bit late. Now the send back comes out on no one as well. Swap on no one because they just want him to live, and they want Ace. Ace is gonna die. See how much damage that does, man. That was almost close to being full damage. Probably was 400 pure damage. It's a lot. So a good fight, good positioning from Lil, you would say, mostly, considering. And yeah. But as you can tell, the main thing that you want to show this game, again, like last time, Lil is not doing everything. He's just playing his role. And his role is not to win team fights. His role is about map pressure and sustain. Who's winning the fights? What VP are winning and losing the fights is all down to Ramses, Solo, and Pasha. Their ability to construct a fight. So I think the buyback came out on Magnus as well, and it's some real economical damage, which is it's negating the comeback potential. You know, when the enemy buys back and they kill you, they get a lot less out of that than if they hadn't bought back. So what was Lil doing with those creeps actually? Yeah, again, Lil pushing in top. They want to go for the Roche. Alright, I'm sitting my creeps top. And you know what? They can't deal with them. Creep wave bot, but that's fine. I think the alternative you could do, if the Black Dragon was already here and didn't need Test of Fate to be sent to be retrieved, you would just send a Faith back the Black Dragon to the well and then push it out. But he's gonna let the Viper do that, I think. Okay, they get the pick off on Ember. He's a sad Ember. I don't think Lincoln's is probably gonna do the job either. So he's a very sad Ember. There's no real way to itemize sufficiently against this team. Yeah, so he hasn't tested Faith the creep back, but he's just sent the creep back. Again, just balancing lanes. So they go top, they've killed the Ember, he doesn't have buyback. Pasha is making space. They've got no top racks, and the game is really, really well in control. All in control. Little sent back to Viper, gets his item, gets Boots of Travel. I really like the Boots of Travel pickup. Wait, what? Did he? Where's the fucking... I don't know, check the career. Yeah, I do. Alright, I just had wards. Somebody bought Boots of Travel. Alright, Pasha bought Boots of Travel, not the Viper. Okay. It's just a very good idea to get Boots of Travel on your court, so if you do send them back as Chen, they can soon after come back into the fight rather than being isolated and out of the fight. So you can see the economical damage that VP have done. They're against the Magnus team, but they've outfarmed them because they out-pressured them. So a big fight erupts, huge RP, but the team is super tanky. Now that he's got the mech, doesn't have ult up, but the mech does work here. So Aegis goes down, mech goes up, and they're all fine. RP is already gone, mid one's getting shreked. You know, Ace is doing a lot, but it's not really enough. Still cheese on Viper too. There's the epicenter that you want to see. So Lil dies because he wandered into the middle of the fight to use his mech, and he gets done by Ace. And that's fine, really. He's kind of done his role. This dragon's pushing out bot in the meantime. It's hard to fight into PL as a Chen. It's just not your job. It's not what your hero does. So immediately they won this fight. The call comes out to split up and farm. I think in response to Sanking TPing at the base. And PL buys back, as does Lil. Lil has ult so he can contribute. And they want, this is the timing with no buyback on Magnus, especially. No IP on Magnus, more to the point. The VP can deliver the final blow, the lethal killing blow. So, take a look at that. They lose a couple, they lose one hero. They've taken racks. They don't need to do anything now. Save comes up. Lil will die back, but his team lives. And they've taken racks, and he's done everything that he wanted to. So his net worth has taken a bit of a hit. But doesn't matter, game one. Game one. So I'm going to cut it there. Cut the replay there. I think it's a couple of minutes more of things happening before they actually do win the game. But that's that was Lil Chen. He's a good Chen. He's a very, very good Chen. Bloody good Ench too. I don't have anything in mind left to talk about. I think we've covered it all. That's all I really wanted to do for this replay analysis. If you're watching and you've got any ideas, or if you see any players or heroes or matches that you'd like me to analyze, I think it'd be worthwhile, leave a comment and I'll probably look into it. So cheers for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Take it easy.